It was a calm February afternoon in 2009 on the western edge of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The desert stretched endlessly. Pale sand, sparse brush, and the faint hum of traffic miles away. A woman named Christine Ross was walking her dog, Rusa, across the open mesa near 118th Street. The land was quiet, until Ruka darted off, nose to the ground, and stopped near something pale, half buried in the dirt. Christine stepped closer, squinting against the harsh sun. At first, it looked like a bone, maybe from a cow or coyote, but something about it felt wrong. Too smooth, too human. She took a picture, texted it to her sister, who was a nurse. The reply came back quickly. "That's not an animal bone. Call the police." Within hours, the desolate stretch of desert transformed. Yellow tape fluttered in the wind. Patrol cars lined the dusty road. Officers crouched in the dirt, scanning the ground with gloved hands and flashlights as dusk fell. What they uncovered would shake Albuquerque to its core, because beneath the sand, buried in shallow graves, lay a secret the desert had been keeping for years. Over the next few weeks, investigators unearthed the remains of 11 women and one unborn child. 11 lives, all taken between 2001 and 2005. Hidden beneath the shifting sands of West Mesa, the scale of it stunned even veteran officers. The site stretched over an area the size of a football field, bones layered beneath bones, jewelry, scraps of clothing, shoes, fragments of entire lives left to decay in silence. Detective Ida Lopez, who had spent years tracking missing women from Albuquerque's South Valley, recognized the names as they started coming in. These weren't strangers. These were her cases. The women who had disappeared from the city's streets without a trace. All of them were young, most between their late teens and early 30s. Many were mothers. Most had been sex workers or struggled with addiction, caught in a dangerous cycle of poverty and survival that made them easy prey. For years, no one had known where they'd gone. Now the desert had answered, but only with bones. As each body was identified, a portrait of tragedy emerged. Jamie Barella, 19, last seen walking to a park with her cousin Evelyn Salazar, 27. Neither ever made it home. Veronica Romero, 27, loved to dance. Her family said she always dreamed of leaving Albuquerque behind. Victoria Chavez, 26, once told her mother she wanted to turn her life around. She vanished before she had the chance. There was Julie Nieto, Monica Candelaria, Cinnamon Elks, names that might have been forgotten by the public, but not by their families. Each name carried memories, laughter, grief. As detectives sifted through the graves, one question echoed through every mind. Who could have done this? And why bury them all here? In the early 2000s, Albuquerque's West Mesa was an undeveloped wasteland. Sparse streetlights, no houses, no cameras, just dirt roads and quiet darkness. For sex workers, it was both a refuge and a trap. Clients would drive them out there for privacy, and drug dealers used it as a meeting spot. And somewhere in that chaos, a killer hunted. The press dubbed him the West Mesa Bone Collector. Detectives began combing through hundreds of missing persons reports, focusing on women with similar backgrounds and last known locations along Central Avenue, Albuquerque's rougher corridor. They pulled phone records, cross-referenced witness statements, and examined every known violent offender in the area, but nothing. No fingerprints, no tire tracks, no DNA. The desert had erased it all. Then came the name Lorenzo Montoya. He lived just a few miles from the burial site. He was known to hire sex workers, and he had a violent history. In December 2006, years before the bones were found, Montoya lured a woman to his home for sex. When she arrived, he attacked her, wrapping a cord around her neck. Her boyfriend, waiting outside, burst in and shot Montoya dead in self-defense. When police later searched his property, they found photos of women in disturbing poses, but no physical evidence linking him to the Mesa. Still, the timing was chilling. After Montoya's death in 2006, the disappearances seemed to stop. No new victims matching the pattern were reported. To some detectives, that coincidence was no coincidence at all. Yet others weren't convinced. If Montoya was the killer, how had he managed to move and bury 11 bodies alone, some weighing over 100 pounds, without being seen? The graves were carefully spaced, suggesting planning and time. Some victims vanished months apart. The killer had returned again and again, each time risking discovery. Maybe it wasn't one man, maybe it was two, or a ring, predators exploiting vulnerable women under the radar. One theory pointed to a human trafficking network operating along Interstate 40, where women were sold, used, and discarded. Another suggested a long-haul trucker, familiar with remote desert roads. The FBI's behavioral analyst built profiles, but the evidence was too thin. No murder weapon, no DNA, only bones and questions. Detectives expanded the search, using aerial drones and radar scans over miles of Mesa. They dug up dozens of potential sites, chasing rumors of other graves, but the Mesa had changed. By 2009, developers were paving roads and building subdivisions across what had once been barren land. The killer's dumping ground was becoming a neighborhood. The irony wasn't lost on investigators. Homes being built over graves, life rising above death. Forensic experts spent years cataloging bones, reassembling skeletons, and matching dental records. Every discovery added a piece to the puzzle, but the picture remained incomplete. A few other names surfaced. Fred Reynolds, a known pimp connected to some of the victims, died in 2009 of natural causes before police could question him. Joseph Blay, another local man, had a criminal record for violence against victims. His ex-wife told police he frequently visited the West Mesa area, and one of his business cards was found near a victim's remains. He is currently serving time for unrelated charges, but never charged for the murders. Still, nothing definitive tied anyone to the graves. Every suspect led to a dead end. Every clue dissolved into dust. While the city tried to move on, the families could not. They gathered at the memorial site, 11 white crosses standing against the desert skyline. Each anniversary, they placed flowers, photos, candles. Some brought their children, introducing them to the aunts or mothers they'd never meet. Detective Lopez often visited too. For her, it wasn't just a case. It was personal. She had carried their missing posters in her car for years, long before anyone believed these women mattered enough to look for. Now she had answers, but no justice. Years passed. Developments rose over parts of the old burial ground. Houses, driveways, manicured lawns. But under certain patches, the earth remained untouched, sacred. Locals say when the wind sweeps over the mesa at dusk, it carries a whisper, as if the desert remembers what happened there. The city's skyline glows in the distance, yet that empty stretch of land feels colder than the rest. Maybe it's because it still holds secrets. We know that 11 women were murdered. We know they vanished between 2001 and 2005, all within a few miles of each other. We know they were buried with care, not tossed but placed, suggesting the killer knew them, or at least saw them as more than just victims. But we don't know who did it. We don't know if he's dead, or still out there, living an ordinary life. The West Mesa case remains open, one of the largest unsolved serial killings in American history. For every theory, there's a hole in the evidence. For every lead, there's a wall of silence. Maybe the killer's secret died with him. Or maybe, someday, the desert will give up one more clue. Today, the West Mesa looks almost peaceful. Children play in nearby parks. Streetlights hum quietly over new homes. To most who pass by, it's just another neighborhood on the edge of the city. But beneath that soil lies a story that can't be buried. A reminder that evil can live unseen, even in plain daylight. No one knows who the bone collector was, but someone does. Someone somewhere remembers every face, every night, every shallow grave. And until the truth surfaces, the wind across the mesa will whisper their names,